morning, everybody. How are you? The devilishly handsome Ian Dixon. Good morning, sir.
Shut up, for f***'s sake. Jesus.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show, Wise Up, Rise Up show. This Wise Up Wednesday. I hope you're feeling good this morning. I got a surprise for you. I got this surprise for you this morning. I've got some surprise guests. We've got some announcements to make this morning, which I'm really, really excited about. But before we do, let's get on in, get comfy, get a brew. Amy Blaney, get a brew. You'll already have a brew. There'll be a jug of caffeine going on for our Amy Blaney. Good morning. Good morning, Natalie Crow, coming in from that there Australia. Hope you are well. Come on in. Come on and get comfortable. This is Wise Up Wednesday. For anybody who's not a regular watching the show Wise Up Rise Up show, the premise is this. On a Monday, we set our intentions together. On a Wednesday, we talk about stuff that's going on in the world, or we'll talk about something educational. We will inform ourselves and arm ourselves with something that is helpful, either for our growth as people or our growth as businesses. So on a Wise Up Wednesday, that's what we do. Often I will get incredible guests to come in and have a chat with me or share with you and drop some knowledge bombs. And that's exactly what we're doing this morning. And then on a Friday, we get together and celebrate the shit out of each other. Even if all you've managed to do this week is brush your teeth, and that was the intention, and you've smashed it, then we will be celebrating you. So whether you've nailed your six-figure launch or whether you've brushed your teeth every day, we are here with our pom-poms akimbo, ready to celebrate you. So for anybody that's new, let us know in the comments. Do comment along this morning and every morning. Don't be a voyeur. As long as it is safe to do so. I know some of you listen to me in the car. Please don't comment along if it is not safe to do so, but if it is safe to do so, make sure that you do. Asking questions, throwing your two penneth in for those of us that are up north. Is that just a northern saying, throwing your two penneth in? I'm asking my guests in the back to nod. Do you know what I mean when I say chuck your two penneth in? Yeah, I think it's a northern thing. I've got a few brew babes, of course I have. I always make one ready, says Amy Blaney. Good morning, Nick Davies, Sarah Park. Hello. So I said I had announcements to make this morning. I was telling you in the Hive just yesterday. No, that's an all over thing. What's an all over thing? Studio audience today. Well, you're always a studio audience. This is the studio. You're kind of watching wherever we are. This is the hangover, I guess, from lockdown. But what a beautiful hangover it's been. We are in our third year of the show Wise Up Rise Up show, which is absolutely crackers. But this year things are going to shift a little bit. So we're going to get a lot more structured around what we're delivering the show, Wise Up Rise Up show, to make sure that I'm giving the best possible value I can. Give you a reason to tune in, not just to catch up with me and the scripts I'm getting myself into, but also to help you guys get fired up, help you feel like you've got your sleeves rolled up and ready to rock and roll at any point in the week, whether you kind of feeling the midweek lull, whether you are kicking off the week, or whether indeed you're sliding into the DMs of the weekend, telling it that it looks sexy. Good morning, Yarka. How are you? You're in the car, but it's parked up. That's all right. I'll let you off. As long as you're safe, we're okay. So, thank you. I received this in the post just before Christmas, and I'm absolutely thrilled with it. The person that sent me this lovely cup, thank you very much. I love receiving gifts, especially when they're branded. So I've got a new morning coffee mug on the go. So thank you so much to the person that sent me that. You are an absolute angel, and also the beautiful card that you wrote that shared your experience of having followed IATQB and how that makes you feel. So thank you. All right. Shall we get into it then? I feel like we've got enough people that have gathered. We are gathered here today, darlings, to meet some friends of mine. Now, 12 months ago, no, it'll be over 12 months ago, 18 months ago, these people didn't know who I was, but I definitely knew who they were. I was following them for quite some time. And they say, never meet your idols. I'm going to use that term very loosely, boys, before you get excited back there. This isn't a case of these people being my idol, but definitely folks that I look up to in the online world, in the business world. I'm waiting for the news, waiting eagerly. Lindsay, you're going to love this one. I've got no doubt. Good morning, Lindsay McGlone. So in the online space, in the business space, one of the things that I do is watch, is look, is see what's going on out in the world, particularly from an events point of view, particularly from who's exciting, who's not boring, who's got something to say, who's got value to give, who's got things to teach me, and who would be a welcome addition to this wider community, this IATQB community of business growth, personal development growth, inclusivity, and all of that sort of stuff. And these guys, absolutely, when I came across them, just I think via a sponsored ad, their marketing works bang on. I would expect it to. They are marketing genii. Is the plural of geniuses genii? I'm going to say that it is in this instance. I think it is. Why not? Geniuses is. And I came across them. I decided to go to one of their events. Their lineups are spectacular. They run a multi-track event, which is unlike Be Inspired. Be Inspired is just a one-track event. You go and see one stage. These guys run a multi-track event where you can go and really kind of get interactive and involved in lots of different ways. And I went along to their event, and their event absolutely blew my socks off from the quality of what they were providing, and also the quality of the value that they were giving to their audience. So I was like, I will get involved in that. I could probably see myself speaking with these chaps. They just need to know who I am. Now, you know what I'm like for making friends. So I decided to jump on into the inbox of these fabulous gents and say, yeah, we're going to be friends. And so it transpires that we are. So to share some gold with you this morning, to announce some things, please welcome the fabulous Andrew and Pete, everybody. Good morning.
Thank you so much, Danny, for that awesome intro.
Do you know what? One of my favorite things
to
introduce my friends into spaces. If I could just do that, it wouldn't matter if I did nothing else for the rest of my life. It's just big people up, and like especially my mates as they walk onto the stage, if they feel like $1 million, so do I. I don't really need to do much else. I don't think. I don't know that much in the grand scheme of things.
If we can monetize that, let's do
it. So, Andrew,
thank you so much for having us.
Say that again.
Thank you so much for having us. And
May, you are welcome. I know this is like having online space and business space royalty with me this morning.
Oh, don't be silly.
We've got like people scattering petals in the green room. We've had like extra snacks. These asked for blue M&Ms, and I was quite happy to provide in a virtual capacity. But Andrew and Pete, good morning. Welcome to the show at Wise Up Rise Up Show. I know I'm excited to have you on the show this morning. My audience, some of them will know who you are. In fact, let me know if you're watching along this morning, if you were aware of who these guys are. And let me know if you haven't come across them before, because if you haven't come across them before, you are in for a treat, because we have just opened the doors into the world, into the atomic world of Andrew and Pete. But guys, enough from me bigging you up, saying that you're dead good. I'll let you tell this fab community who it is that you are and what it is that you do. And we're just going to wing a little conversation together today.
Okay, that sounds good. So hello, everybody. If you haven't met us before, we are Andrew and Pete from a company called Atomic, and we are here to help the small and mighty business owner to grow and scale their income, make more money, but without hustling their faces off. And hence why the name is Atomic, because it's for the small and mighty, all right? So we look to help small business owners, service providers, B2B or B2C, and we look to help them grow their income, make more money. And yeah, we've got our own conference, Atomicon, which is awesome. And we've got Danny coming to speak at that conference as well. So you better be there to come support Danny. We're excited for that.
We're taking a whole hive army to Atomicon this time. I know Sarah just said she's got a ticket for Atomicon already. The more that we sort of tell you guys about it, the more you're going to want a ticket to Atomicon. And we'll talk about that this morning. A bit more about, you know, what's involved in Atomicon, how you can get involved in Atomicon, and also like I want to be gathering a whole bunch of us as a bit of a learning social. I'm going to be speaking for just a little bit of that, which means that I can come out and do my learning with you lot as well, which is always an honor and a privilege. So if you are coming along or you want to hear more, we will provide you with that information this morning. Rachel Bond is interested. I'm glad. You should be, Rachel Bond. You should be interested.
Yeah, so we're excited for that, and if we can help on this live in any way, we're open to questions, anything about scaling up, making more money, growing content, outsourcing, sales marketing, and that's what we're all about.
Amazing. So, okay, let's get into it a little bit. So I want a little bit of background because I don't know. I'm going to ask you some questions that I don't know the answer to. You'll have answered these questions a million times before, but I'm nosy and I'm interested. So Andrew and Pete, like Sonny and Cher, no, it's like Madonna and Cher. In your own words, like there are no surnames out on your Instagram and what have you. You have to search that far. How did you two meet and decide to join forces? What's the backstory? I love a story. What's the backstory of exactly? Tell me.
So we met on the very first day of university. I'm from Whitehaven originally in Cumbria. Pete's from Preston. And we both
went up the Preston crew.
Yeah. We both went to Lancaster University. So day one, we just randomly got placed in the same halls of residence together. And our eyes met across a crowded kitchen. And we became good friends first. Like we were really good friends. And we both had a real passion for business. We were both doing business degrees. So we kind of had that in common, became really good friends. Between second and third year, we set up a little business over that summer and kind of ran it in our last year of university. And we were like just really into entrepreneurship. We both ran the Entrepreneurship Society. We were constantly getting speakers in. So then when it came time to graduate, I was moving to Newcastle to live with my girlfriend. She was doing a longer course and she went to Northumbria University. And I really wanted to get out of like the small town and go live in a big city. And I lived in Newcastle. So I was like going to Newcastle. That was my plan. But we had this like little business, which was rubbish, by the way. This was pre-apps. So we were sending motivational texts to students during like busy exam times. And we were sending like jokes and pranks and stuff like that. It made like no money whatsoever. But it was fun. It was fun. It was a good learning business. I was
going to say it's a good litmus, isn't it? Like what's working and what's not working. Like sometimes I think for people that are starting a business, they have an idea that thinks going to work really well because I would like it, but actually market research may suggest that people might not like it, and sometimes that market research is the doing of the thing instead of the research.
Like we made all the mistakes. We were like, hey, we'll build a website, people will find it, people will buy. No, that does not happen. It takes a bit more than that. So we learned all of those mistakes like whilst we were studying, which was good. And then I was moving to Newcastle, so I said to Pete, look, let's not get corporate jobs. Let's not do what everyone else is doing. We were 21 at the time. We had no wives, no mortgages, no like main responsibilities.
All the days.
Yes, I know, right? I don't know how we lived at the time. I like think back to like the amount of money we were making.
Think about what you're doing now and the bandwidth that you actually had then. Can you imagine if we had a time machine like all of us? Wow.
Mental. So we did that essentially. We moved to Newcastle, 21, didn't know anyone, brand new city, and we had a ton of different ideas, and we just kind of went for it. And that was 2011. So we're like 12 years this year.
So you've been doing it a bit. You're not new.
Not new. I feel like we're at that point now where we don't feel self-conscious about our age. Being 21 and like trying to grow a business, we were just constantly up against our age. I mean, we still get it. We're in our early 30s now, so I feel like there is still
You still got
little
kind of
bit of
that young thing. You haven't, not that you've got the young thing going on, but there's a lot, definitely in the business specific space of you've got to have time served in order to be considered viable, or you've got to, you know, be of a certain age, or you've got to have so many grey hairs in order to have said, you know, you've cut your teeth. You've got to have been in so much pain in order to have hit a certain benchmark of acceptability within earning circles. And actually
Right.
people are getting younger and younger in the entrepreneurial space. I actually wanted to talk to you about that this morning, both of you.
Yeah.
So I want to start with, how did what you've studied, so you went to uni and you studied this. In terms of what I've learned about business and presentation and all of that and speaking, I've done sort of learning on the road. So going out and learning on stages from really, really young age as a performer, moving into corporate, speaking in those sorts of areas. And that's how I kind of cut my teeth. How was learning about business in a learning environment different, or how did that translate into doing a business in the real world?
Not at all. It's like I did business economics and I absolutely hated my degree. I just found it the most boring, like, models based on there being two countries in the world. Like, how does this actually apply to what I actually want to do after university? Like, way of learning about business.
Yeah.
He did an entrepreneurship degree. He did entrepreneurship and management. I feel like that wasn't much better, right, Pete?
No, it was a lot about like the theory of entrepreneurship, which who gives a damn about that? It's like,
Yeah.
I don't really care. What does an entrepreneur mean? So I don't care. I just want to make some money. Let me go.
Yeah.
So that's why Andrew said before we ran the Entrepreneurship Society, and that was actually the most valuable thing. So
Yeah.
we brought in new speakers. We went to big corporates, we got sponsorship, and they paid for speakers to come in. And then basically we learned from them. And that was like the best thing. But in total honesty, like nothing we learned at uni we've ever used. Like basic life skills. Like we don't need to know about Ansof's matrix as a small business owner, particularly. We don't need to know these things. So really,
yeah, go on, Pete. Sorry.
Really, our main experience and knowledge has come after university and just doing and failing a lot.
Yeah.
And then obviously we help other business owners. So now we've had thousands of business owners that we've spoken to and helped, and we've seen their journey, and we know what works, what doesn't work, what helps to grow people faster. And we've done like massive research studies where we've got thousands of business owners to tell us, like, are they growing? Is it a fast growth? Is it slow growth? And how do you deal with this? What do you do about that? How do you do this? And therefore we can work out all the correlations. And for example, I've done probably about 1,000 sales calls in my life now, which is a ridiculous amount of sales calls.
A lot. And that very idea, I think, strikes the fear into the heart of most business owners that are watching along this morning, is that, you know, sales and marketing as a practice within business isn't necessarily something that comes naturally to the business owner in the first instance. The idea comes first. So I have a thing that could potentially solve a problem out in the world. Oh, well, that's good. Now what? And to have people that are, you know, close by and really successful in that particular field, i.e. you guys in this particular instance, is absolutely invaluable. So when you've done these like thousand plus probably, right, sales calls, were you ever scared? Were you ever, you know, did you
100%
want to do it at the start? Was it a
terrified.
slog?
Terrified. There was actually a point where me and Andrew, we wanted to find out why people weren't buying our membership. And our mentor said, go talk to 100 people and sell to them. Like, as if that's like a really easy thing to do, right?
Buy this thing that I don't think anybody wants to buy.
So I was like very skeptical and very scared. Well, we both were, but we're like, let's make it our mission to do this. So Andrew and I, we put a ton of effort in, and over the course of 3 months, we did indeed have 100 sales calls, right? Now, you might be thinking 100 sales calls, that's crazy, right? But we really, really went for it. And we reached out to a ton of people to get them on a call because no one wants to join a call.
Right.
And the first 30 calls were awful. I was like having heart palpitations, like nervous. Andrew had to give me like motivational speeches to like
You
take-
can do it.
And this is before Zoom was like popular, so it was like just on the phone.
On the phone.
So I would spend like all day like just doing these calls, not cold calling, like would get them to agree to a call,
Yeah.
and I would sell to them our membership. First 30, I maybe got like 3 or 4 to join.
Mhm.
Like it was bad. I was like getting rejected left, right, and center.
Mhm.
But after every call, we had a bit of a review, like what went well, where did it fall down, what's the main objection, how do we get over that for next time?
Right.
So then the next call, I would try something else that was different, a different way of explaining it.
Yeah.
I'd explain another feature better. I'd try and proactively handle an objection rather than wait for it to come.
Mhm.
And over time, I got better and better.
Mhm.
And what ended up happening was after the second 30 calls, I got 100% success rate.
Okay.
And then the next 30 was like 95% success rate, right? So, and then we kept on going. So we ended up getting over like 100 new members and learning like an invaluable skill. And then from that skill, we could then take that and put that onto our sales pages, our lead magnets, our sales funnels. So now we know what makes it sell.
Mhm.
And therefore that was like invaluable. But
Yeah.
geez, it was very, very hard.
I think that it's one of those doing this sort of work is the bit that people are often the most fearful of. But actually, if you embark upon that as a learning experience as well as an income generating experience. So when I talk to my clients and talk to people in our community about income generating activity and doing income generating activity, whatever that looks like, whether it's sales calls, asking for sales calls or whatever. If you go into that purely just to close the sale, like all I want to do is I want to close the sale, then you're going to enter into resistance from you and resistance from that person instead of thinking, okay, what's going to work here? How did that go? And think of it as a learning and a reflective piece isn't really something that I'd considered. Is like, we want to get people on a call because we want to tell people about this dead good thing that I'm doing. And if they say no, it must mean that the thing isn't dead good, which is often absolutely not the case. The thing is probably dead good. It's how do you articulate yourself, or how do you develop a relationship enough? How do you overcome those objections enough in order to move that person to the point where they agree that, yes, actually you can fix my problem, and it becomes a no-brainer to pass the money to you and have that energetic exchange. What about you, Andrew? How did you so you were giving Pete like the motivational talks, like, yeah, we could do it. Was you secretly shitting yourself when you were doing this stuff as well?
Oh yeah, totally. Whenever I feel like the nerves around sales calls never goes.
Right.
And I feel like what me and Pete have got used to is like following those fears. Like if we feel like we're at a point in our business where we aren't a little bit scared about what's next, we probably aren't trying hard enough, and we need to like push our goals a little bit higher,
right,
and getting more comfortable. I feel like one thing we've learned, especially over the past few years, and especially during the pandemic, was we were always waiting to be there at that point, and this point wasn't even like really defined. We just
making it. When we've made it.
It's like we were heading somewhere, and when we got there, everything was going to be fine.
Yeah.
I think what we've realized is that's ridiculous. Like we don't know. Every time we hit a goal, it's like there's always that new goal. There's always that next.
There's nothing at the top of the rope. We're all climbing this rope, right? What's there at the top?
And like I think what pre-pandemic things had always been going steadily up for us, which was great. And then like pandemic hit, and that was a big reality check. Was like, shit, we're not ever fully in control of like our own destiny.
Mhm.
Like things are going to change, and I think we gave ourselves, especially because we had almost 1,000 people coming to Atomicon.
Yeah, you were
Just
you
as
so
the
you already had an
pandemic hit.
event in the making, right? Like you say, you'd already sold 1,000 tickets. This isn't for those of you that are interested in Atomicon, it's not a small do. It's a big, fantastic, incredible multi-track event where, you know, in this case, 1,000 people were booking on. How like
Yeah, it
we
was.
had
it was
something booked and we moved it into a TV studio. We was like, right, flipping heck, that's what we're gonna do. And it was really scary. Did you feel that fear? And
Yeah, it was the start. Our event was in April, and then we were at another event in San Diego in February, and the
Right.
goal was to get back from San Diego. We had about 6 weeks to the event, and it was like, let's just smash it out the park, like final push. But then, as we were in San Diego, it's like the COVID news was really starting to bubble. Like
Yeah.
there was starting to be masks like on planes on the way back. So like that 6 weeks was just completely different to as we envisaged. And it was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, we now cannot do this event. How do we turn it virtual? How do we not make sure literally every person requests a refund and we're like financially screwed?
Oh my God.
How do we manage this like awful thing? And it was stressful and it was not fun. I definitely do not want to ever revisit that kind of part of life again. But we got through it, and I feel like
Yeah.
we're feeling much better, much more resilient going into.
I think a lot of those businesses that survived, if not thrived, during that sort of pandemic period were those people that almost ran toward the fire instead of running away from it, right? It was those people that were like, okay, so this is the situation that we're in. Okay, so what are we going to do? Instead of, we can't do anything because this is the way it's always been and we can't, you know, be tenacious. I think one of the things that I admire about the both of you is that you are consistently tenacious. Like, if you know, we listen to the story of, you know, how you guys met and coming through, maybe not getting what you needed from your courses and creating the entrepreneurship society, and you know, your tenacity as a duo, as a you know, a business partnership is something that's been a thread throughout your working career together and your friendship, and the fact that, you know, you take yourself away to go and have sort of
Business
like
breakaways.
business breakaways, where you go and consider where you're at and have a think, take yourself out of context in order to do that. You're really aware of, you know, where does your bandwidth sit? Well, it doesn't sit in your living room or in your offices. It sits the fuck away from where you do your normal thinking, right? And that's where you get those great ideas, and having that tenacity is something that I really, really admire about you. Having a look, when I went to Atomicon, when you last put Atomicon on, was the October of 21.
Yes.
That feels like a million years ago and yesterday at the same time. That's mental.
Yeah, it is crazy. It's
Considering
crazy
that we
over
were
a year ago. Yeah.
like, we were sat there and you put the tickets on sale for the one that's going to be in June then, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'll get my ticket. It's a million years away. And it feels like it's like right around the fucking corner now. That's mental.
Yeah.
But that we were still on the tail end of that. There was still a lot of, like, you know, social distancing, sanitizing stations, lots of like fear going on. And when you were taking the run up to that, was you scared that people like just, you know, weren't going to attend, or that it was going to be?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it was still touch and go. I mean, if we think back to, it was actually the start of November, that event, and the government had said we were in lockdown a few months before, in that final lockdown we had a few months before.
Yeah.
The government said events of our size were going to be okay from October.
Yeah.
We were like, oh my God, this is like touch and go. This is a lot of
squeaky bum.
Yes. I feel like we definitely got much better, or we had to get much better at just managing our mental health, managing like looking after ourselves over that like crazy period, because there was just this constant worry. It's like this event that we love, that had gone so well for us, was just all of a sudden like the biggest thorn in our side, something that we really wanted to do, that we had no control over whether it could actually happen on the day we wanted it to.
Right.
So yeah.
And events are a roller coaster at the best of times, right? You know, are we going to get the sponsors in? Are the people going to, you know, if we build it, will they actually come? We don't know. And people like hold on tight to their ticket money till like the last couple of months before, when then they decide, oh yeah, I'm coming, and then get the ticket right at the last minute. You think, you just buy your ticket.
It's like if we didn't have the belief in events and our events specifically, I feel like it would have been so easy to just cancel it or just say
Yeah.
like it's not happening. But
Mhm.
like we're so passionate about it. Like we've been to like a ton of events
Yes.
over our years, and like we know what works, we know what doesn't work, we know what makes them good, we know what doesn't make it good.
Yeah.
And like we know how freaking good Atomicon is, and we
Right.
were like going to bat for that bloody event. We were like, this is happening.
Yes.
Like through hellfire and brimstone, this event is going to happen.
Yeah.
And like when all the others were cancelling around the UK, we were like, no, like we're going, we're doing
We're
it.
holding
Like, we're gonna make
fast.
it happen. And it did. Standing on stage at that event, there was this weird, like, I looked out and I saw everyone sat, and I still just remember it vividly, just like being covered in goosebumps. And it was
Yeah.
just this relief of like, oh my God,
We
like,
held
we
on.
are actually here, because we decided to do it at that event at the Sage and right before our first Atomicon. So our first Atomicon was in the March 2019.
Mhm.
So a few months before March 2019, we paid the deposit for the Sage, which is the big 1,600 person venue.
And that is a jump. We jumped into Old Trafford last year, and that was a real hold your nose fuck. Okay, so we're not fucking about now.
Yeah, that's what we were like. We were like, right, we sold out this more. Like, there isn't that many venues in Newcastle, so we sold out this 300 person venue in 5 days. We were like, right, we're gonna like smash it. We're gonna book the Sage. We're gonna do it. So it was like early 2019, and then it wasn't until 2021, the end of 2021, where we actually got to see this event take place.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of work, but totally worth it.
So talk to us about Atomicon, because I was already a fan. I was already an Andrew and Pete fan prior to the event. I was even more of an Andrew and Pete fan when I saw in real life what it is that you guys deliver in terms of being event producer. I'm an event producer. I love seeing what other producers create. One of the great things about Atomicon for me was that because you have spoken internationally at not small events, like you as speakers and speakers that I admire, you've not just dipped your toe in, you've not just spoken at a couple of corporates and then gone, Irish speakers now, everyone, international speakers speaking at big events. So when you have created Atomicon, you've done it with that big international event situation in mind. But tell us a bit more about the event.
Yes, we'll do. And just before I do, I just want to say thanks for all the comments. I'm reading them and it's making me smile. So thank you. Keep them coming. And thank you for getting your tickets for those people who have that. And thanks to Lindsay for putting the link in. That's awesome.
Lindsay's amazing. Lindsay's on our team. She's fantastic. And we want as many people to join us at Atomicon as possible. So we're going to be sharing this link quite a lot over the next few months, because I want to take an army of us, as I said at the beginning. But Pete, tell us about the event.
Yes. So the event is here to help you discover the world's best sales, marketing, and growth strategies. That means after this event, you're going to know the strategies that literally the world's fastest growing companies are using, the people that are having incredible success, and the people that are the best in the world at what they do. And you're going to be able to take all their knowledge, soak it all up, and take it away to go and implement the moment your fingertips can hit a keyboard again to start growing your business. And not only that, but you're also going to get the network of people, the connections, you're going to get the inspiration, the motivation, and you're going to have the friends and collaborators to go away and go do it.
And the network is insane, by the way. The network is, we talk all the time about our network being our net worth, and this community is absolutely incredible. And it's such a tight community of supporters of each other. Again, one of the things that I love about the whole Atomic community is that they are so welcoming and so inclusive, and they have each other's backs and they learn together. And there's lots of different like fringe events that happen around Atomicon that you can go and get involved with. Isn't just like the one event. There's lots of things that happen in different meetups and stuff. And IATQB will be having one of those fringe events as well. But sorry, I interrupted. I got excited.
It's going to be June 14th in Newcastle. There will be some fringe events happening around that day as well. It's a multi-track event, which means that you can go and see the sessions that are the most appropriate to you. And afterwards, if you wanted to go see any of the other talks, they are all professionally recorded and live streamed as well.
Yeah.
So you can actually attend the event virtually, and you can switch between in-person or virtual tickets right up until kind of the last few weeks before the event. And essentially, the types of speakers that are going to be speaking there, a lot of them are like multimillionaires. They have their own TV shows, some of them. They're just at the top of their game. We've got people like Joe Wicks, the body coach, OBE. So the guy who did all the lockdown workouts.
I remember doing
Ian
those with my
Tickton.
kids.
Yeah.
I know. I say I remember doing those. I remember doing them 2 mornings. But we made a big deal of it. We put it on Instagram, which meant we did it the whole of lockdown.
So he's got an incredible story because he was a PT, personal trainer, and he wasn't having any success. And then he started to create loads of great content. He started to be really dedicated to that. He built his audience. He created scalable products and services, and he built up his business. And it's really, really inspiring. And now obviously he's on TV and all this stuff.
He's a household name now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we need to remember, like, he was a business person first, right? So there's a lot to learn from him. We also have Rachel Rogers speaking, who is the author of the book We Should All Be Millionaires. And I'm reading it at the moment. It's phenomenal. And she's going to be helping us with the mindset as well around becoming a millionaire and making more money. And, it's funny, I was reading her book, and a lot of it is about, she does like a whole intro just to like clarify, like, making money is good. and like, this is why. And you shouldn't feel bad about making money. Because making money means you can have a bigger impact. You can be with your family more.
100%. Money is not a dirty word round here, y'all.
Good. So she's going to be incredibly inspiring. We've got Leah Turner. We've got Danny Wallace.
Who's she? Flipping heck. She sounds interesting.
We've even got Mark Wright coming to speak, Matt Navarra. We've got a ton of amazing people coming.
It's a stellar lineup, an absolutely stellar lineup. And again, one of the things, last time I was able to watch Deborah Meaden at the previous Atomicon, and one of the things that I like to do, and I talk to you guys that are watching out there about this all the time, is I like to go to talks of people who I admire prepared, because there's often opportunities to ask questions or network with these people, and so you can go to an event like this and go and be sort of a passive voyeur of it, go and watch. But actually, what's great about Atomicon, it brings you really close to these people and allows you to, if there's Q&A at the end, run to the bloody microphone and go and ask that person that you admire the question that you want to ask them. If often we'll talk in interviews, if you could interview anybody, what would you ask them? This is an opportunity to look at people who are really at the top of their game and ask them a question. So if you are getting a ticket, or when you get your ticket, have a consideration for, which talks am I going to go and watch? Who am I going to go and ask a question to at the Q&A? And I want
to love that about you at our event, because like I think we were aware of you, but we didn't really know who you were. And then all of a sudden, there's this lady who's like,
everyone.
She's like getting involved. She's like coming up to say hello. And a lot of the speakers, like, they're just roaming around. They're just walking around. Like, you can go and speak to them. In fact, on our website, like, if our speakers don't feel like they've been pestered and want to like go hide away, like, you've not done a good enough job, So we really want you to like go and make a presence and go talk to people and stuff. And obviously you're now speaking at the event.
Yeah. And the speakers are all great people. It's actually one of our, we're very, very picky about our lineup. They have to be amazing speakers, not just like in terms of topic and what they say, but like how good they are on stage and their stage presence. But they also need to be like nice people. It's like we want them to be milling around the event. We want them to be chatting to our attendees. We don't want them having like massive egos and just like looking down on everyone.
Sort of a star, there's a shield around me sort of situation.
Yes, exactly.
With my entourage and my, my fan and someone feeding me grapes. I don't have that set up at all.
No, just Pete has that. The rest of the speakers, will be milling around the event. So yeah.
Okay. So that's the event, and we'll be talking lots more about the event as the weeks and the months go on. So there's a couple of announcements that we get to make together this morning, and one of them is that you're coming in to do a Hive takeover the week beginning the 23rd. You heard it here first, of January. So Andrew and Pete have kindly agreed to coming in to the Hive, which is my free community on Facebook. If you are not a member of it already, it's IATQB Hive. So it stands for I Am the Queen Bee. Pop it in the search. We'll pop the links out in the comments section across wherever we're broadcasting. So if you're watching on LinkedIn, for example, and you're not a part of the community, you are welcome to join. It's completely free. But the week commencing the 23rd of January, Andrew and Pete are coming in to do a bit of a takeover.
Whoop, whoop. Very, very excited. We've got a lot of cool things planned. We're going to be doing some Q&As. We're going to be streaming some of our previous Atomicon keynotes into the group as well.
Wow.
So you can really get a good feel around what the event's like, the kind of level of speakers we've got. And if you are looking to progress your own speaking career, I feel like they're really great examples. We essentially invite all of our favorite speakers to speak at our events. So we've got
they all say yes, which is amazing.
Yeah, we do have a good way of twisting people's arms to come to Newcastle. And yes, we're also going to be having some kind of discount to ticket for you guys as well if you buy during that takeover week. So I really appreciate you guys sharing the link, but I want to say don't buy yet.
Hang on a second.
I know. And if you have, don't worry, we'll make sure that you get the discounts as well. But yeah, we'll be sharing that very soon over the next few weeks.
Fantastic. So that's the week beginning. So week commencing the 23rd. What we'll be doing for those of you that are going to be participating and watching along in the Hive is we'll let you know when the lads are going live, if they're going live, or when things are going to be streamed, when they're going to be streamed, so that you can pop it into your diary. So we'll let you know about that towards the end of this week, beginning of next week. But it's week commencing the 23rd of January. So not next week, week after. I feel like Peter Kay when I do that. So that's one of the announcements. And the other is to do specifically with Be Inspired. Now, Be Inspired was when you invite your friends who are also people that you massively respect within the events industry and within this particular space, when you invite those people to your event, what you love, it's a really scary thing. And before Be Inspired, last time I said to Andrew and Pete, and they'd already accepted me to come and speak at the event, and we were talking about ways that we could collaborate. And I was like, hey, I'd love you to come and check out Be Inspired from
Awesome.
Just want you to come and experience Be Inspired and what it's all about, so that kind of what my community is all about, and we can see what are good fits for ways for us to collaborate. You can see some of the topics that we speak on, all of that sort of stuff. And you came along, and my heart was in my throat the entire time that you was like, why? I don't know, because we're friends. But you came along to Be Inspired, and you're going to be at Be Inspired this time.
Very, very excited about this. Very, very excited. It was such a great event. And you know what I really loved about the event was the people that were there were just like our kind of people. Everyone was so lovely. And I think if there's any event that we wanted to support and get more involved in, it's like it was that one. It was great. You put on such a good show. And I feel like the UK needs more epic events for us to all go to.
Absolutely. And having it's sort of a different type of event as well, so a different sort of subject matter and a different vibe and a different feel. So for even though it's like heavily centered in joy and fun, which is I think our sort of correlating value, is that we want people to enjoy themselves at the event and not just turn up in a suit and come and take notes and off your pop. Like, having experiences is something that's really sort of central to the Be Inspired experience and the Atomicon experience, which is why it makes sense for us to collaborate and bring you lot to both events. Like, we want you to come to both events, which is why we're supporting each other with our events respectively. This is a perfect example of collaboration over competition every single time. When it comes to people who are aligned with your values, people who are aligned with your business, complementary skills, and all of that sort of stuff. This works on all of the levels. I talk to you lot that are just starting out about how can you link arms, how can you festoon and grow your businesses if you're working when you're just starting out. That doesn't diminish the more successful that you become, the bigger your businesses build, the more that you need your friends and collaborators and sort of sideline siblings to kind of come together and amplify those values. And within our space, it's within growth, it's within personal growth as well as business growth. It's within joy and fun and letting your hair down and having those in between conversations as well as on the stage conversations. And yes, absolutely, Lindsay, the strapline for IATQB is that we all do well when we all do well, which is why I am so honored that Andrew and Pete are going to be joining us at Be Inspired on the 30th and 31st of March. So they are our two big announcements. Say that again.
Everyone was so lovely last time we went as well. Like, every single person we met was just like really nice.
They're all right. Like, we're a jolly
They're
bunch.
all right.
Pete, it's because we have a no knobheads clause. So if anyone's a knobhead, they just don't. We don't attract them. So they just don't. You can only meet nice people.
We have that too. We have a no douchebags clause.
So and the thing is, for anybody wondering, like, how do I know if I'm a knobhead? If you have to ask yourself that question, it generally means that you're not. It is kind of the litmus test for it. If you go, oh, am I a knobhead? Probably not. Then you're all right. If you think I couldn't possibly be a knobhead, I don't know. We might have to do some work. But everyone is absolutely wonderful, and I'm so glad that you had such great experience. So much so that we get to continue to work and collaborate together in lots of different ways, and I'm sure that'll continue into the not too distant and the distant future as well. But Andrew and Pete, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I cannot wait for the atomic takeover of the IATQB Hive on the week beginning the 23rd. Put it in your diaries. Details will be coming out in your emails and also in the Hive and across my channels. And make sure you get your tickets to both. Be Inspired. We've got a January sale going on at the moment. You can get your ticket for $150. You can get your table tickets, get together with your friends and grab yourself a table and make it cheaper for you all for the 2 days. And also we will have a discount code, or we've got a special promotion going on for Atomicon for that week. So if you get your ticket to Atomicon, make sure you get it in the week of the 23rd. Right, my loves? Thank you very much for joining me this morning.
Thank you so much for having us. That was a bunch of fun.
We will see you soon. Right, you lot. That was Andrew and Pete from Atomic. Please do go and check them out on Instagram. It's Andrew and Pete. There's much more detail about the events, the speakers, what's going on, what they're about. They are consistently providing incredible value out into the business world. Please do go and follow them. You will thank me later. I've got no doubt in my mind. So they're coming to take over in the Hive week beginning the 23rd. I'm going to be speaking at Atomicon, and also you're going to get to meet them as well at Be Inspired on the 30th and 31st of March. Right, my loves, I hope you enjoyed our conversation this morning. I hope that got you fired up about some of the things to get excited about this year. On Monday, I did say that we were going to have a little chat about the maths and the Rishi Sunak situation. We're going to move that onto Friday and get our teeth amongst that debate there. I want you to come and bring your ideas to the table. What can we be doing as a wider community to be supporting our young ones in order to sort of help the economy moving forward? I think there's lots for us to talk about there. So I'll see you on Friday for more Showing Up, Wising Up and Rising Up. In the meantime, look after yourselves, get those sleeves rolled up, have at it. I'll see you later, Tra.